Crap. Well, folks, I had that actually down. Sorry, I was lazy trying to film something else a little bit later and then turned it off. So, okay, pretend like you didn't see that. Yeah, pretend you didn't see that. But of course you did. Can you hear me now? Like the commercial? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you tell I'm out of practice with with live streams? So again, happy new year to all of you. So glad that you're here. Hope you all had a wonderful, blessed, and relaxed Christmas, New Year's, all of that. Yeah, so I hope you all did. So, welcome to my new podcast show, which is An Audience with the Queen. Of course, this podcast sometimes it's live, sometimes it's recorded. The first recorded one you saw was with Theme Park Wizard. And for my first live show, Kamran Pasha is going to roll through. So, I'm very excited to be talking with him about his predictions about Hollywood for 2023. It's kind of interesting because when we kicked off 2022, I actually had him on my channel to talk about what we kind of expected to see, what his predictions were about what was coming up. Cameron is one of those people who actually works in Hollywood, a place where I used to live way back in the day. So I love getting his input and his insight, and so appreciative that he talks with those of us here in the fandom to answer our pressing questions. So let me see who we've got in the chat while we wait for Kamran. And man, I'm so sorry about boomering that in the beginning. Let's see. Hey CJ, I see you there. Says my Hollywood 2023 prediction. I won't watch anything coming out of Hollywood in 2023. Granted, that was also my 2022 prediction, and I got that totally right. Well, you know how my feeling is. It's just like Hollywood needs to earn your trust back, you know? But I'm willing to fall on that grenade. Just, if I can save people money, time, and heartache with some of the stuff that's out there, I'm glad to do it. There are some things for 2023 that I am definitely looking forward to seeing, and several of them seem to be kind of like indie productions, which is interesting. I tell people, do not look at the major studios, look at those smaller studios that are putting stuff out. Case in point, Cocaine Bear. Let's see, Dylan C. I see you. You're muted. I see everybody. Lonnie Holcomb, Theme Park Casual. I see you there as well, my dear. Yeah, speaking of theme parks, I've been taking a little break. So I will be back to the theme parks actually next Friday. It's going to be the opening day of the Festival of the Arts at Epcot. So I'm going to be covering that for you guys. And let's see, KB says Happy New Year. Well, Happy New Year to you. Glad you're here. Don't think I've seen you on my channel before, so welcome. And Sam McCabe, man, haven't seen you in like I won't say a dog dingo's age, I guess. Says, hey everyone, it's been a while. Been busy with my publishing post grad. Good to see you all. Hope you are well. I definitely get it when it comes to that post grad thing. I was once in that life, and it was like, man, I was not going to get any kind of reprieve until I got that grad work, done. It was just insane. Absolutely insane. Second rodeo. Hello. So sounds good here. Okay. Well, glad to hear that. Second rodeo. I don't think I've seen you in my chat before. So welcome. Welcome. Save me time and money and heartache. You want to set me up with a good women. I know a couple. I do. I do. I know a couple. I know a couple. While we wait for Commer to come in, he's a busy dude. I mean, I'm so glad stuff has been just popping off for him in Hollywood. He's been doing a lot of great stuff. He's busy, so as soon as he can get here, that is fine. As long as we can get him, so no worries. Besides, the guest is The guest is never late, even when they are. They're never late. Yes, please hit the like button. So let's see. So while we wait for Kamran, there was a show that I had the miserable misfortune of watching, and I don't even flipping know why I did it at all. But I think it was, when people tell you that there's a show that's so bad and you don't really quite believe that that's the case. Anyone check out Witcher Blood Origin or have the misfortune of watching this show? This show was so bad. I mean, let's put it this way. It was so bad. I actually considered watching a couple episodes of Rings of Power. It was that bad. I don't know who it is that they picked to write these scripts. I didn't care about these characters. The costume design was crap. The CGI was laughable. I mean, I cannot believe how freaking bad it was. CGI, special effects were crap, forgettable characters. It's just like why the heck are we watching this? Absolutely. Lonnie Holcomb says, "No, it wasn't made for me." You know what? It was made for me and it was still complete ass. I mean, if it was so quote unquote made for me, that's a freaking insult. This show wasn't made for me either. It was what they thought I wanted. They thought that I wanted to see something that had literally no storyline, that just because the head character happens to be a quote unquote woman of color, but with zero character development, like that was going to interest me. No, and it's a shame. It's so bad. Hey, Keely Chow, good to see you. Good to see you. Sam McCabe says you don't want to look, but you can't not look. It's like a car crash. It really is. And you feel bad for the people who are in it because Michelle Yeoh, who I absolutely love, if you've ever seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, that is a kick ass movie. So to see her in this, it was kind of like, uh, I feel bad. But I definitely do not feel bad that Kamran Pasha has joined us, and I'm looking at those palm trees, man. It's bringing back LA memories for me. How are you?
The sun is setting, so they'll be disappearing shortly. But I'm wonderful. Happy New Year! You're the first YouTube I'm doing this year, so what a wonderful way to start the year.
Oh, well, thank you, thank you. I was telling the chat. I think last year we did the same exact thing. Kicked off the new
Really?
year with you, yes, with you as my guest, because we kind of wanted to talk about what was going on with Hollywood in 2022, and I think that's the discussion that we had about, is it really quote unquote woke, or is it just bad entertainment? Because unfortunately, the term woke has just been so completely bastardized, it's nowhere near what it used to be. And now it's just, active entertainment. And I just literally start to tune out as soon as somebody throws the woke word out there.
Well, and unfortunately, it's been misused by people who are the critics of this kind of stuff. And we've had, and you and I have talked about this. We've had people that had fair criticisms of political ideologies being put into entertainment, and then it suddenly became everything I don't like is woke, and even everything that kind of looks like I stuff that was woke. I'm not going to watch it because I'm going to presume it's woke. I
Mhm.
mean, stuff like what happened with this Marvel and all that. It's like, oh, I'm gonna assume it's terrible, and I'm gonna say it's terrible. I don't need to watch it. That's the other extreme of this nonsense. So
Yeah.
we got two pendulums here. Yeah, two extremes.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? OC Gigan has something I'm going to get to a question for
Okay.
you in a minute. But before we even get started, I know you have been very busy compared to last year.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in my professional life. Some stuff I'm very hoping I'll be able to reveal. You know some of it, and other things that are going on. Some of the stuff I've talked about on my Patreon privately. So I hope to be able to share it more publicly with time. But yes, no, thankfully my career is in a good place. There's a lot of stuff happening, and I apparently have gotten into a lot of interesting hot water with my FTX theories on Disney that have now spread. And Zero
Mm.
Hedge, which you may be familiar with, is a very popular
Yes.
financial website, is now publicizing and naming me. It's like, this is Kamran Pasha speculation, but it adds up. It lines up with everything here. And when you get Zero Hedge reporting my theory that Bob Chapek was removed because there's a hidden FTX scandal, something's happening. If it's getting to that point, something's happening. The investors are waking up.
Absolutely. And I hope that it is definitely, to clarify a little bit, the institutional investors, the ones that are holding,
Mhm.
close to 5% of
Yeah,
Disney stock a
yeah,
piece. It's like little stockholders like me will put our things, on the agenda, and they'll, pat us on the head and vote it down and not pay attention. But now it's like the institutional investors are kind of like, okay, what the heck is going on? So actually, I just saw that because I just joined your Patreon today. Actually,
yeah. I
just
saw that.
joined your
I saw that. Wonderful.
Patreon.
Glad to have you on. And there's a lot of fun stuff. I mean, those who haven't been on my Patreon, you'll see there's a lot of articles. People join Patreon and they're like, I have a couple of patrons, and like I wait once every 2 months for someone to post something, right? I'm like, hey man, I'm paying you money. I try to post multiple times a day, and sometimes with really interesting new stuff and sources and things. So you're seeing what I've got on there. I think it will
Yeah,
surprise a
because
lot.
the one that you just posted, I had to laugh because I swear I've had dinners and lunches and parties with said people when I
Yeah,
lived
yeah.
where
All I'll
where
say
you
is
live.
that I posted a list, archetypes based on TV and movie characters of all the characters you meet in a Hollywood writers' room that a very famous showrunner shared on a writers' board today, and I just thought it was one of the funniest things because I've met every single one of those characters. I mean, he uses characters from Game of Thrones, characters from Godfather.
Mhm.
You've met every one of them, and it's all real. I've worked with half of them. My enemies would probably say I'm at least 3 or 4 of those bad guys in there. I'm sure I imagine myself to be the hero of some of these archetypes. But they're mostly negative archetypes. That's the funny part. They're mostly ridiculous people, right? There's very few heroic people. The couple of heroic people are the ones that end up being brutally slaughtered
Yeah.
trying to be the good guy in the room.
That just gave me like the best, the best laugh. So you guys definitely do check out Comrade's Patreon. I have the link in the description box for you folks to check out. So let's see. First off the bat, kind of like
Well,
a
well,
oh,
before we
oh
jump into anything, I came in when you were talking about the Witcher Blood Origin. I think I came in at that moment. Uh,
yes,
so you probably don't know this. I interviewed for a job to be one of the executive producers on Witcher Blood Origin. I
really,
interviewed with the showrunner. Yeah, I was up for a job on that show, and it got all the way to there's several non-writing producers on that show, who I've worked with in the past. They liked me. They referred me to the showrunner, and I
hmm
went through the system, and I got the interview, and I didn't get the job. Obviously, I didn't get the job, and I could, I kind of know the moment in the interview where I probably never outshine the boss, never make yourself look too big, where I noticed the moment where I probably said too much, and I said, okay, I don't think I'm going to get the job now, right? And maybe it turns out it was for the best.
Kamran, it was so for the best. I mean, it's heartbreaking when you see people of top talent in something that's just so half-assed and phoned in. Just it just breaks your heart, and
Yeah, well,
it's
since I
very
haven't watched any of it, the what I had pitched, and I'll tell you what I pitched for the
oh,
angle that I would have taken when
please
I
do.
pitched for the job. And so I actually made an analogy because, again, I don't know, I haven't watched it yet, probably because I'm deeply scarred that I didn't get on the show, right? But
I don't
but
blame you,
but,
dude.
but
Just serious.
I haven't watched it yet. Maybe I'll watch it, and I don't know where the ultimate version of the show went, but based on the initial ideas that the showrunner was sharing with me, it's my understanding is set in the past, right, and sort of about the hidden history of the elves, kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay. And the hidden wars of the past that are kind of forgotten now that led to the world the Witcher is in today. And so I actually said I would wanted to really explore the idea of occupation, sort of like what my old boss Ira Stephen Bear did in Space
Mm,
Nine with the Bajorans, right? And
mhm.
I used the example of the Palestinians and the Israeli occupation, and that's the example I used in the interview. I said I wanted to explore what happens when you've got a culture that has essentially been colonized by a more powerful group but still exists in a subjugated form, right? And how what does that do internally to that culture? And that's what I wanted to explore. I don't know if they explored any of that or how effectively they did that in the show, but you've seen it, so tell me.
It was basically they tried to pull off a Game of Thrones without the emotional attachment or political intrigue,
Well, this is
and
what I wanted
it
to get. I wanted to get both of those things. That's how I was using, because obviously I'm very passionate about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I've been there several times, and
mhm.
so I wanted to bring the emotions of this very visceral conflict that's very emotional to people on all sides, and the politics of it. So I guess they didn't go there.
No, they did not. There was nothing that set up a conflict like that or made you emotionally invested or ratcheted up any political intrigue. It's just basically, hey, do you want to know why, what happened at the beginning and why the elves are basically all that? And they took I can think it was 4 or 5 episodes of nothing. At the
And it's only
end,
like a 6 or 7 episode season, isn't that right? Six,
yeah,
6 episodes.
yeah,
Okay. Oh well.
yeah. And it
Okay.
just it was just so just like, man, I wanted to turn it off after the first one, but I'm like, you know what? I have to see how this train wreck ends because there's been a couple of shows, and I've noticed this, and perhaps you can speak to this
Mhm.
because you're in Hollywood. I've noticed with some shows, like for example, like Wednesday, the first episode will be full of so much activist entertainment and
Yep.
buzzwords to the point where I want to turn it off.
Mhm.
But then the subsequent episodes are fine.
Is that what happened here?
That well, it didn't happen in Blood Origin. It was just crap all the way,
Okay.
all the, all
Well,
the way.
the phenomenon you're talking about is often, remember, there's a long process to get the first episode, the pilot, greenlit, and then a show is developed after that. Usually, even shows that are given a multiple episode order, there's still a lot of effort put into the first episode, even if it's not that's where everyone throws in everything, including the kitchen sink. That's where everyone involved has their finger in it. And those who are like, the ones, let's just say, who are still living in 2016 politics, that's their moment to throw
Mhm,
their thing in there, make sure we make this comment, right? And then you see how it all comes together. You're like, okay, there's too much of that crap, right? And then hopefully, you start removing things because now the show's running and you've satisfied all these people that need their finger in the pie. You gave them their thing, and now you get rid of all of them and say, okay, we're going to focus on these elements moving forward. That seems to be how that happens.
okay, because I noticed I've been seeing that in several shows. I use Wednesday as an example because I'm a big
Mhm.
Adams Family fan, so I was looking forward to that. And I'm just like, this is the third show where I've seen that, where I've seen that happen. So, do you think that
Mhm.
in 2023, do you see that phenomenon going away, or are we still going to see, like for these streaming shows, or we'll say episodic television in general, where you get a first episode that's like that, where they throw in everything but the kitchen sink, but then the subsequent episodes are more about what people come there for, the emotional attachment to the characters, plot exposition, the fact that I have to see what happens. Do you see that going away this year, or is it going to be hanging around for a while?
Well, I mean, it's kind of baked into the system of how Hollywood works. For the reason I'm talking about this is because there's so many cooks that are needed in the kitchen to make something launch. If I've used the analogy of Elon Musk, there's a lot of people that are needed to shoot that rocket off, right? And then the rocket is
Mhm,
off, and it's like the different boosters are eliminated as you focus moving forward, right? And so it seems to be baked into the system where you have to work with, unless you are already famous, super powerful person, right? Where who has the ability to plow through what they want. Often to disaster because there's no one correcting them, right? Often that
mhm,
that that scenario often leads into even worse situation where there's no one willing to say, "Hey, boss, we got to course correct," right? Right. So you've got these two scenarios. You got too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen, or one, you know, cook who doesn't know what he's doing, right? That tends to be the poles, and you want to hopefully find somewhere in the middle. But most people, look, just like Hollywood, most people are just average. Even with Hollywood, there's most people are just average, and they just
mhm,
fall within the guild phenomenally successful. Of those few people that are phenomenally successful, a portion of those people got that through connections and don't actually have any underlying talent, they're the ones that are the most like, we're going to do it my way or the highway, right? Because they're insecure, because they need to prove to themselves they know what they're doing. So they're the ones, like our friends on the Lord of the Rings, right, who had no credits at all, who've never done nothing right before this, and are given $1 billion.
Yeah.
So, they're off the rails because they got to prove to themselves that they deserve it, instead of realizing, hey, I was given $1 billion. I've never done anything before. Maybe I should surround myself with people that know what they're doing, right? But, I won't comment on The Witcher, but I'll just say that if you look at the writing staff, not everyone is that well known. I'll just leave it at that, right? And I was pretty well known, and maybe that was one of the reasons I wasn't wanted, right? Maybe I just would have been a little threatening into the system, because I would have been like, well, on the 6 shows I've worked on with this scenario happened, this is how we handled it. That doesn't always, the bosses, if they haven't worked on 6 shows, don't really need to hear that, because it makes them look bad, right? So you don't always want people that can challenge you in the room. There's one of those archetypes on the list, right?
Yeah.
that we had. So, and so that people with less experience tend to bring in even less experienced people and non-threatening people on board, and that doesn't help them. So you got these 2 poles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know that definitely did not help with blood origin. So yeah, you dodged a bullet with that. That's
my
very
entire career,
for
when
real.
people tell me I dodged a bullet, I was like, I got to pay my rent too. So maybe
Yeah,
I'll take the bullet. Maybe I'll just take the bullet. Maybe I'll take the bullet to pay my rent. I'll take the bullet. Like all these angry, like, I'm worth $40 million and I hate myself. Let's trade places. Because I was like, do you know that show Blacklist, right?
mm-hmm.
Right. So was interviewed for the job. I didn't get the job, and then afterwards, it's a very successful show. Afterwards, I heard from people, hey, you dodged a bullet because other writers are not having good experience. It's one of those shows where it's infamous for a revolving door. You come in, you're brought in for half a season, you get fired, and there's like 7 or 8 years of this revolving door where people coming in, bosses don't like them, get rid of them, and it's a constant churn, right? And
Right.
I won't name which one of them, but one of the writers said one of the top people on the show, has made quite a bit of money off of this. Like we're talking about, it's a network show that's syndicated worldwide. We're talking about it's probably worth 40, 50, $60 million, right? At that point. I mean, realistic at least. And so they're like, yes, this person is worth $60 million. They got a huge ranch in Montana or whatever. They have all this stuff. And they're just unhappy. They're like, I'm an unappreciated genius doing this network crap. I should be doing HBO genius stuff. I was like, dude, let's switch places, man. I've done Showtime, Emmy nominated stuff. Let's switch places. I'll take the $60 million in the ranch. You be the prestige writer that's trying to pay his rent. Let's switch. Let's see who ends up happier in that situation. So
yeah, it's just that's kind of like what I try to explain to people, which I didn't know. And then when I lived in LA and I'm living amongst, actors, writers, producers, stuff like that, people are like, well, how come that actor picked that so-and-so role? I said, because that actor had rent to pay and a car note to pay. And in the end, it puts food on the table. Sometimes it's like
that's
that.
most people. And I have to understand, for all the blaming of actors say stupid things, whatever, most of them don't believe anything at all. They don't have any political beliefs. Their political beliefs are based on whatever they think is going to get them hired. So that's what they're outspoken about, right? I remember once there was a very, I won't name him, but it was a very well-known actor that I worked with on a show, right? And he friended me on Twitter, was very friendly with me, blah, 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 and, and all this stuff. And then I critiqued The Last Jedi, early on social media. And I said, this is terrible. You know my opinions on that.
Yeah.
And this actor wanted to kiss up to Rian Johnson because he wants to get Rian Johnson to notice him. So he decided to throw me under the bus. This is a very well-known actor. And he retweeted, I was like his boss. I was like, he's once a producer on his show, right? And he retweets me. And maybe he forgot, like we hadn't worked together in 6 or 7 years. Maybe he forgot who it was on the thread that he was retweeting. But he retweeted me, mocking me to his like 500,000 followers, saying, if you don't understand the genius of Rian Johnson, maybe you shouldn't come to Hollywood, kid, right? Not realizing, hey, I was your boss. And like retweeting me to 5, and then I'm being flooded by all of his crazy fans who are like sending me DMs and crazy stuff because they want to kiss his butt, right? And then I retweeted and I said, hey, do you remember when we worked together on this show? I think you forgot who I am. We worked together on the show 6 years ago, right? And I was the producer, and I always had a very good relationship with you. So if you If you didn't like my opinion on this, why are you mocking me to your fans? And when he realized, oh my God, wait, oh, that guy, oh, and he deleted his tweet, but the damage was done, right? Like, I'm not going to work with that guy again.
Mm-hmm.
And I removed him from my social media because he attacked me in this ugly way. Only reason he did that was he was hoping Ryan Johnson would notice. He was hoping Ryan Johnson, he forgot, he thought I was a random nobody on the feed.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought, I'm going to get Ryan Johnson. I'm defending Ryan Johnson. He'll cast me in something. I was like, well, I don't think Ryan Johnson noticed. And guess what? You and I aren't going to be working together again. So I don't think this worked out for you, right? But that's what they do. I mean, he doesn't have any opinion on Star Wars. His opinion was, how do I get more work? So that's what people understand. These people are these dumb Hollywood people are saying dumb stuff. They're just trying to get work. That's all it is.
They're just like, you're only as good as your last job. And when you have the job that you have, you're jockeying for the next job. That's, again, to corroborate what you were saying, actor friends of mine, that's exactly what they were doing. Because there's one, well, yeah, actually, I'll say this because it's long enough. One actor from a certain Stargate show who knew me by name, and I'd see him at conventions all the time. He'll answer a question one way on stage, and I'll sit down with him. I'm just like, you don't really believe that, do you? It's like, well, you know how it is. I'm like, yeah, I know how it is. I'm just saying.
Well, wasn't there a character in one of the Kevin Smith movies, like one of the Clerks kind of movies, where there was a character who gave up, who got he's an African American gentleman. He's giving up this big spiel about how
he was gay, black race,
because he was like the ultimate power of black man. You take off his mask, he's white, right? And he's like making this big racial thing, and afterwards he's just that's his shtick to get attention.
He's like, oh, that's just what I do, and I can't believe they let me get away with it every year.
He doesn't believe what he's saying, but he's riling up. He's getting press on it. He's riling up the masses, right? So he doesn't.
And his two friends are sitting there, just like nod face, like, yeah, he does this every year.
And that's what we need to understand. A lot of the people that we follow on social media and others that we put our trust in, whether they are politicians, whether they're social media personalities, whatever, are people that are just saying whatever they need to try to get attention. I will give you an example. I'm going to name him because I don't like him, and I'm going to name him. And I think some of the people on your show will like him, but I'm going to name him. So he's a conservative figure, a political figure on social media, Charlie Kirk, right? You've probably heard him. He's very well known, right? He's often with Jack Posobiec and others talking, right? He's got a big. So Charlie Kirk is your standard sort of firebrand conservative. If anybody knows me, I'm pretty conservative in my personal life. I'm a libertarian politically, blah, blah. Let's get past all that, right? So this guy's a firebrand, at least thing. And I remember this tweet he did that backfired on him because, he's just trying to suck up to what he thinks his audience is. So he did this tweet last year where it was all about, he was retweeting that how the Palestinian Authority doesn't allow gay pride parades, but the Israelis do. And, big gay pride parade in Tel Aviv. And he said, this is why we need to support, Israel, because they're out there with our LGBTQ brothers. And thinking that because most of his audience are conservatives who don't like Muslims and support Israelis just because they don't like Muslims and think it's some divine thing that Israelis are there. And so he thought, well, I'm supporting Israel. Here's another reason. And then people are like, hey, man, are you pro LGBTQ now? It's like, man, and then he had all these conservatives going, yeah, I don't like these dumb Muslims, but I'm okay with them not having gay pride parades with kids there. I'm okay with that. And now he's looking like an idiot, right? Because in his effort to cater to what he thought his audience was, he didn't understand his own audience because he doesn't believe anything. He's just changing his views, thinking his audience is going to go there, and they weren't there with him. That's an example of what Hollywood is. And that's an example on the conservative side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the thing where you want to own the libs. Like I want to say Matt Walsh, I believe, from the Daily Wire. It was basically clowning those of us who like to, collect collectibles, and he's saying, basically it's time for you to grow the heck up. And I retweet the quote, and I said, you know what? This is the reason why conservatives like you are losing the culture war, because you
don't understand. Art is the basis of culture.
You don't understand that. And Andrew Breitbart, God rest his soul, had it right. He said, politics is downstream from popular culture. And if you do not understand popular culture, you are not going to win the culture war.
And you're not shaping popular culture. If you're mocking artists, there's a young woman I follow on Instagram, very, very sweet woman who's an actress, who's a conservative woman. And she's been posting all these despairing things about how she's been a conservative actress and an activist and an actress, and how much she is mistreated by fellow conservatives for being a dumb actress reading other people's lines, right? She's like, don't you understand? I'm trying to shape culture, and you morons are opposing culture, and guess what? Culture will beat you. It will beat you.
Exactly. So it's like y'all need to learn that. But speaking of the culture, well, first of all, oh, OC Jiggins says he just got back on your Patreon, and
Well,
thanks
welcome. I
for
think I
the
saw it.
welcome.
Welcome back. And there's a lot. If you have a chance, go check out some of the most recent stuff. The last few days has been crazy. There's a lot of crazy stuff on there that that I put out there. So please check it out. I think you'll be entertained.
Mm-hmm. Scott Hughes is here. Good evening. Sorry I'm late. No worries. No worries. You guys in the chat are never late. You arrive precisely when you intend to. Is in the chat. My wing woman on Ladies of the PGS and other streams and recordings says hello, Reina and Kamran. Hello, chat. We're good to see you,
Well,
my dear.
I had lunch. I've had dinner now twice with her. Once in New York City and once actually in Los Angeles just a few weeks ago. She was in this area for a convention and we met up, and I met her lovely mother, and she's so wonderful.
She's great. She's great. You guys keep reminding me. I'm like, yeah, you guys are gonna drag me back to visiting LA again.
Well, don't come to Santa Monica. I went to the dentist today, and
yeah,
I went to the dentist today, a few blocks away from my home, and suddenly I was like, I couldn't get into the dentist. The building had this new security gate. I didn't have the code. So finally, I'm calling people, can I have the code to get in? It was raining, pouring today, and I'm standing on the pouring rain trying to get into this building, just to my dentist. And this is Santa Monica, a nice area right by the beach.
Yes, Samo is, well, from what I remember, Samo was just gorgeous. I would love
it used to be Rich Guy Place. Now it's Rich Guy Place that's under siege. It's literally like the siege of Constantinople, because I go in there and I say, what's up with these gates? They're like, oh, it's too dangerous now. The landlord had to put in a gate because there's so many homeless people. And the homeless people in Santa Monica are not the homeless people I grew up with in New York City, who are people down on their luck who've had problems. Some of them have mental illness, and you feel compassion for them, but they're generally harmless. And they'll ask for money, you give it to them, or you don't give it to them. But they're harmless. The ones in Santa Monica are young people addicted to fentanyl and other drugs who will come up to you with a shiv, and they'll like, give me your money or I'm going to stab you. That's what Santa Monica has become. And it's incomprehensible to me. I'm not saying this. I couldn't believe Santa Monica is literally like overrun by armed, dangerous homeless people.
I never.
It's incomprehensible.
I never thought that would ever happen. Just my memories. Don't go to LA. Just come.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is like a beautiful rich people area. I worked really hard. I came from a poor family in a poor neighborhood, and I worked really hard to get to the Santa Monica beach. Worked really hard to get there, and I'm here. I'm like, oh, it's like Escape from New York.
That's when I left. I called it Escape from LA. And I was actually looking at real estate in Santa Monica at one time. I was like, God, it's just too expensive, but it's beautiful here.
Yeah, it's still expensive. But now you not only have to pay $5 million to get a small place, you now have to pay for security. All right, I only have a half an hour, so we got to talk about the future. Let's talk about the future. I'm going to talk about this other nonsense.
Yes. So let's talk about the future with respect to some like the fandoms that we all know and love. So I'm going to throw three out at you. Okay, you tell me what your predictions are for 2023. Let's start off with Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I think it's going to be a disaster. I don't know if the rumors that we've been hearing for the last several months will still be true. I've said since the beginning that they're going to keep reshooting it, and of course there were test screenings. I regret that everyone that has to pretend there weren't test screenings. It is not possible that a movie of this scale was not tested. You don't do that. It might not have been tested in the traditional way. They might have just brought in Disney employees and their families, which happened when I was working at Disney. They would have Disney screenings, right, to do a sort of hidden test so the public didn't find out about it, right? But it's been tested before normies who didn't work on the movie, and they've seen it now, and the reactions were bad. And before Mr. Chapek was fired in his mysterious way, I'm sure he was telling them, fix this damn thing, right? I gave you a year to fix it. It still sucks. Go fix it again before I put it in. And I have absolutely no doubt that Bob Iger his entire thing is coming there is like, I'm just going to do what Chapek was doing and take credit for it. That's his been entire approach for the last 2 months. I'm just going to do everything Chapek was doing and pretend it was my idea, right? That's all he's been doing for the last 2 months, right? He's like, I'm the genius that's just going to do Chapek's plan. So Chapek's plan was go reshoot it. I'm sure it's being reshot right now. And so I don't know what it's going to be, but when it gets to the wire like this, after multiple, I don't know that it's going to work. And I don't want that to be the case, but I think it's not going to work. I think they've had multiple shots at this. They don't know what they're doing. That's tragedy. But it's a tragedy that also the whole movie's a tragedy because we've already had a tragedy. Indiana Jones 4 was unnecessary. You just had to end it with a trilogy. The 4 was a disaster. Why build on that disaster?
Exactly, because the third movie ended perfectly.
Wonderful movie. You don't need anything more. I mean, if worse, go back, do the young Indiana Jones series from the 80s with a new actor. I'll watch that. I watched the 80s one. It's still one of the best things I've seen on television, right? Go put that on. Why are you doing this? But of course, no one's hiring me to do that, right? Like, what does this guy know?
Yeah, they're not smart enough to hire you.
Well, that's the problem. This guy knows too much, right? This guy's a threat. There's that rumor that I believe that when Kathleen Kennedy first met Gina Carano at a party after she was hired for The Mandalorian, and I believe this because this is what they do in Hollywood. After they're all polite, Gina, whatever, being her normal, charming, friendly self with the crew, and who loved her at the party. That the rumor is Miss Kennedy turned to one of her flying monkey aides and said, "This woman's going to be trouble." Like she could tell, like Gina was smart, independent thinking, was not intimidated by her, was not impressed by her, didn't defer to her in the champagne lunch, the thing that they were at, and didn't need to because she's self-confident. And she's like, this woman's going to be trouble. So you knew she was already marked from that moment because she wasn't going to kowtow to this power structure.
Absolutely. I believe it. I believe it like you. It's like I've been to those parties where you kind of hear the talk that's going on and actors meet other people and just like, nah, not that one. Nah. They're
and it's talking actors. One of the lessons I have to learn the hard way is that often when an actor is being difficult, I hate this scene. This script sucks. I won't do blah, blah, blah. What all comes down to is like you gave the other guy in the scene the final line, and the lead wants to have the final line, to have the punch of the scene. So okay, you're like, this guy's being causing all this. He won't come out of his things. All these 1,001 excuses. He's unhappy. You're like, oh, here we go again. All right, I was like, here's the script. Okay, can we flip it? He gets the last line. The other guy says the other line. Oh, now everything's just the best script I've ever read. Once you understand that's how this works, you
I'm sorry, I've seen it happen.
It's true. I'm not making this up.
No, Kamran, you are so not making that
up. The last line and the drama ends.
I've seen that. I've freaking seen that happen. I can't stand that guy. Why? They were supposed to write that scene for me, and they didn't write it for me. They wrote it so now his part's bigger, and I don't appreciate that. Something else. Just get the popcorn. That was interesting. Interesting to watch. Second franchise.
Indiana Jones. I don't think it's going to work. Okay. I feel bad about that. I think people will be surprised. I think there will be reshoots, and I think the endings will not be what we've heard. I think they have enough time to do that, and I think they have been idiots to not. If they allegedly, I believe they did, have 5 different ending screenings and none of them worked, they got to rework it, and they're doing that. I believe that. I still don't think it'll work. I just don't think. I think if you haven't figured it out by now, you're not going to figure it out, right?
No,
the foundation probably doesn't work. The dynamic with Phoebe Waller-Bridge and him and Harrison Ford simply isn't written properly, so it only leads to a few options, and so that would mean rewriting the whole damn movie from the beginning, which they probably should have done, right? I don't think it's going to work. I'd be happy to be proven wrong, but I don't think I will be. Okay, that's one. Number 2.
Number 2, Marvel MCU Phase 5, which is
Phase 5?
off with that. Yeah, I know.
This thing's still alive?
Yeah, just barely. It is on life support. I don't know if you saw Wakanda Forever.
No, I was done. I was done.
No, I don't ever want to see that movie again. MCU Phase 4 had to be the biggest just disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, literally, compared to the other Marvel movies from the other phases. Phase 4 was just awful. And now they're kicking off Phase 5 with Ant-Man and Wasp, I believe Quantumania, that they're kicking off with that. How do you think Marvel films are going to fare?
Am I back? Hello?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry about that. Yeah, my Wi-Fi
No
sucks
worries.
here. Part of being Santa Monica. Oh, the Wi-Fi sucks here too, and you're also being assaulted by homeless people. Okay, whatever. But I have a nice beach. All right, it's all good. So, all right, so look, you know, I think that had there not been this nonsensical drama with Bob Chapek, I think there would have been some effort to put Phase 5 on a good track because Chapek hated Feige. We know that. We know that he challenged Feige openly and challenged
Mhm.
what he was doing it for, and he was putting his feet to the fire. And Feige went against him with Scarlett Johansson and lost. So I predicted, had the events gone the normal way, that Feige was on his way out. Now I don't think Iger's not the kind of person that would push Feige out. He worships at the feet of famous people. That's what he's a star screwer, right?
Mhm.
He loves that. And so he's not going to hold Feige's feet to the fire because the difference between Feige and Kathleen Kennedy is Feige at least has a long history of being able to claim competence, whether it was the result of he had a good team with him. Miss Kennedy has Iger saw what she did, right? So I'm sure he's dealing with her privately. But with Feige, he's just going to let him. I'm sure you're going to figure it out, kid. I got all this other stuff that I got to hide this FTX stuff from the SEC. I got other stuff to worry
Mhm.
about. You keep doing what you're doing, which will be a mistake, right? So that you keep doing what you're doing, son, and that's going to be a mistake. And I don't see it getting better. The only thing I have any hope for, and it all depends on whether the script worked, is actually the Marvels because Ms. Marvel, I
Hmm.
fell in love with her. I fell in love with Kamala Khan, and I was resistant to the show. And I wrote a lot of my Patreon about all the shenanigans behind the scenes. And I have friends
Mhm.
who work on the show who told me a lot about the shenanigans on the scenes. But I ended up loving the reshot version of the show that we saw. I loved it. It's the best thing I think Disney has done in a family show in years. So her presence, like I don't care. I don't care about seeing the original Captain Marvel. I don't really care about her in that movie. I want to see what Kamala Khan's role is going to be because I'll watch it for her. So if they don't screw up her character, then the movie
Mhm.
might be okay.
Mhm. And I kind of agree with that because Ms. Marvel, I didn't really watch that
Mhm.
because of just the demographic. I'm like, it seemed like more like my oldest niece, she liked it. She's like in her early 20s. So she liked it. So I'm like, okay, it's not for me demographic wise, but for it just reminded me of the old Disney Channel shows, which I thought
That's
was
what it was.
perfectly fine. And I loved her acting, loved the actress. So
Yeah.
that's the only part to the Marvels that I might actually be
Yeah.
interested in, but I don't know if I could do it at the expense of
Yeah.
having to sit Brie Larson.
With Brie Larson. So it's like I watched the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. Whenever Amber Heard would show up, I was like this. She would cover half. I was watching like this. I wasn't even joking. Like, and people would
Mhm.
post pictures on Twitter of like whatever because they would do the split screen on the court TV, right? And so
Yeah.
people would have like a towel covering her part of the screen because they didn't want to look at her. That was literally how I was watching the testimony because Johnny Depp's testimony and she's on the other half of the screen. I'm like, yeah. So it'd be like, Brie Larson will show up. I'll be like, yeah, okay. Bring Kamala Khan back. I want to see her. And I'm going to be this. Of those of you who are watching who have not watched Ms. Marvel, uh, I think that you will be pleasantly surprised. It is not the comic. The comic went woke and crazy. It ends up being probably the most family values show Disney has had on in years.
I would
And
agree with that.
and one can say whether it's the thing is you can say it's not my age demographic, but it's not
Mhm.
about ethnic. People say it's not me. I'm a white woman. I'm a black woman. It's not. It's made for Pakistan people. No, it's made for anybody who's got a parents and a family and who doesn't fit into society. It's a Peter Parker story, right? And that
Mhm.
it's not in any way an ethnic demographic. It's a universal story of a geeky girl who doesn't fit in, who gets superpowers, and what happens, and it's very loving in that sense. So I would give it a shot. Yeah, it might be for younger people, but it's not what people thought it was going to be, which is this wokey, preachy garbage thing, which it wasn't at all.
Exactly, and that's what I really didn't appreciate when I kept hearing about that. I'm
Mhm.
like, "You know what? I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna watch it, for myself." "Oh, you're gonna watch that woke nonsense?" Okay, no, no, I'm gonna watch it for myself. Sat down and watched it. Yes, it did have that ethnic dimension because that was the identity of the family, but you had all of these universal family values
Yeah,
in there, and that's diversity done the right way as far as I'm concerned. It's like if you have an ethnic group that's on television, but you see your family, you see your father, you see your mother, you see your grandparents and all that, it's, it's really great way
Yeah,
to connect with people and
yeah,
makes it a universal story. So I'm
yeah.
actually looking forward to going back and checking that out.
On my Patreon, I got messages from people again who were very skeptical until I said I actually love the show, because I remained
Mhm.
skeptical. So I told, and then I wrote reviews. I couldn't. I was watching the pilot, the first episode with my mother, and I was blown away. I couldn't believe how good it was because my expectations were so low. And then I put out there, and then I had people on my Patreon like who were from the Philippines and other places, and it was like,
Mhm.
oh, that's my family. I had a friend of mine who's like Irish. He's like, oh, that's my Irish grandfather right there. It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's like I'm an American, fourth generation American. My father came over during World War II. My grandfather came over. That was my grandfather and my uncle's relationship right there. Everyone gets it.
Yeah, just like Jermelina says here, I love Ms. Marvel. It made me realize that Mexican family life is so much like Pakistani life portrayed on the show.
It's very true. And I've said that, I have conversation with my good friend Mexican Iron Man.
Hmm.
Mike, who's become a very close friend. We're actually hopefully going to have lunch tomorrow, and he's become a good friend. Actually, tomorrow's no, we're going to have Friday. Tomorrow's Thursday, right? So we have for Friday, but yeah, but he's become a very good friend, and we bond on the fact he's Mexican, I'm Pakistani, and we get each other. So
I know, Mike's so cool.
Mike is
Mike's so cool.
all right. I got 10 minutes. What's the third one? We got
10
10 minutes.
minutes,
And I've
third
got
one.
class.
And
I'm
I left.
taking I'm taking a introductory Turkish language class.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and you know about the project I'm working on, so it's linked to that. But I want to,
Hmm.
and also because I love Turkey, I've been there multiple times, and it also has literally the most beautiful women on the entire planet. I mean, it's the Ottoman Empire. It's like the full, because the Ottomans were so multi-ethnic, right? The
Hmm.
empire. So you when you go to Istanbul, the range of ethnicity is you will have people that look Asian who are Turkish, like Chinese, people who look Middle Eastern, people who look blonde European, and people who look African, because that was the range of the Ottoman Empire, right? And that's still there.
Hmm.
As a result, it's a very attractive group of people. So let's just say, if you want to see beautiful James Bond, femme
Hmm.
fatales, just go to Istanbul. The whole city's full of them.
I've seen all the National Geographic pictures. That's one of my favorite places to to imagine, like,
Oh, you got to go. You'll fall in love.
that I was visiting.
And especially any of of you who are Christian, Turkey was the center of much of Christianity for most of history, right? Byzantine Empire.
Yes.
There's all these Christian churches there. There's all this Christian heritage that's preserved there. So don't think it's a Muslim country. It is very much a Christian-friendly country, and there's
Hmm.
incredible Christian sites there that you should check out. Paul went there. A lot of the apostles went there. So you go check it out. They preserved all of it. It's amazing.
Oh, I can't wait to go there one day.
You'll love
Oh,
it.
last one, especially since you brought up Amber Heard. Let's talk about DC.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the DC is going to be interesting because it's literally been turned upside down multiple times. It's like this. It's like this. It's like this. Like Dungeons and Dragons dice that keeps rolling. Right? It's like, where's it now? It's like this multifaceted dice. You know where it's going to end up.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, people have said I'm the seer. I see a lot of stuff. I didn't see this coming, but I'm not surprised by it. But when the new regime comes in and they first bring Cavill back, which I knew was coming, and they get rid of Cavill, which I didn't see coming, right? So, look, I think James Gunn decided to make a radical shift. He decided the only way to fix what was broken is to just start all over. And maybe that's the right move, which is unfortunate because, these actors were good actors given garbage scripts. Cavill was a great Superman given mediocre scripts.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot is perfect as Wonder Woman. The first movie showed it. The second movie was a piece of garbage. The script is garbage,
Hmm.
right? Ben Affleck is great at Batman. He's like, playing the billionaire douchebag who's actually a superhero is kind of his thing, right? It's like, he can play that sort of like, cocky, arrogant douchebag who's actually hiding the fact he's a superhero. Because I've met Ben Affleck and he comes across as this cocky, arrogant frat boy douchebag, right? And then you talk to him, and he's actually really well educated. Like he majored in Middle Eastern history in college. So he and I, we were talking about like, he was not me and he, I was in a group of people. He was speaking on stage, the Directors Guild. But I talked to him, I asked him questions, and he was talking about how he redid, how he adjusted Argo based on his historical understanding of the Iranian Revolution. He put in that wonderful opening sequence of the animated sequence about the Shah, right?
Hmm.
It's not in the script. I have the script. He put that in there. He said people don't understand what the Shah was. They don't understand why there was a revolution. This is gonna come across as an anti-Iranian movie. So let me start it off with, why was there a revolution? Because we supported this douchebag dictator who ruined his
Hmm.
people's lives, right? And so he put that in there. He's you're like, wait, this is the dude who's like, hanging out with J-Lo and getting himself on the the cover of gossip magazines with douchey behavior. and he's this
Mhm.
sophisticated, intelligent guy at the same time. That's Bruce Wayne.
Wow. I
So,
know one of
so DC
the
screwed.
best.
But DC is screwed in the short term. It's screwed in the
Mhm.
short term. In the long term, I trust James Gunn to come up with something. It'll all be depend on he's got to. I think he's capable of. He's made good movies, getting good scripts, and then we'll see what his casting. It's. I mean, if they got to have good scripts and good casting for this new round, I think I don't know what's going to happen with Aquaman. I mean, are they even going to release it? I mean, at this point, they might not release it. They might not release it
As
because they
far
haven't
as
heard of the problem. They might not release it.
yeah. So it's like, who knows what's going to happen with that? What I heard was that they are still planning on releasing it, but it's just like, who's going to be interested in seeing it really after the
I mean, I would
whole
I would
Amber
put it
Heard
on.
Johnny Depp trial?
I would put it on. I would put it on HBO Max and just forget about it. I wouldn't put it in the theater because then they
Hmm.
can hide. They can hide the numbers if it's in HBO Max. They can pretend it's a hit and everyone goes away, right? But if they put it in the theater,
Hmm.
it's going to bomb hard.
Yeah, because I mean, I love Jason Momoa, but I'm like, I don't really want to freaking see Amber Heard. I just
Yeah.
nah,
Well, and to
not.
answer, we got here. Mike has bad knees.
Yes, thank you so much for that $5 super chat, my dear.
So,
Says, what does it say them getting rid of Cavill and keeping Ezra Miller? And that's to you, Kamran.
all right, so and this is going to be my last, unless maybe because I've got 5 minutes, so I'll see if I can answer this quickly if there's time for one more question. But let's try to answer this one. I mean, it's what I've always said. Ezra Miller's situation is not normal because he's a child star who I believe has lots of leverage on powerful people because he's a child star who, let's just say, probably went through the machine of Hollywood. What happens to young child actors here, and
Mm-hmm.
most of them burn out and they're gone. He's still here and he's working, meaning he's got lots of videotapes, lots of text messages, lots of bad stuff, and a lot of people from his childhood, right? So
Mm.
can't get rid of him that easily without bringing the whole system down. That's what it's about. Cavill didn't do those things, so he didn't participate in that, and so he had no leverage to protect himself. We'll leave it at that.
Cameron with the great answers to these questions. So
And
thank
that
you.
feels
'Cause I
true to you.
had no.
That feels true to you, doesn't it? That's what's
Oh,
really happening here.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, on so many levels. Last one, and this is
I
actually a
gotta
good
go.
one to end on. And this is from Ryan McF. He says, "Does Cameron see Hollywood changing direction anytime soon?"
Well, it is changing direction, and it come to my Patreon because I've been talking about it for a year now. I've been building up a lot of analysis of that, and what's happening now is we've had a lot of radical change in the last couple of months. It's been slowly, I mean, it's been moving away from the wokey woke, despite whatever people think. They know they
Hmm.
can't make money with that. They've been moving away from that. You wouldn't have had good movies like Top Gun and other movies. This whole year was full of good movies. Avatar is a family-friendly movie. It's about fathers and family, and the values are coming back to mainstream values, right? Uh,
Hmm.
but now they've got all this damage that was done by this 10-year, hangover that they're in, right? Of this 10-year party that they were at. We were all on cocaine and they didn't know what was going on in the real world. Now they're having the hangover. And sometimes you got to take some radical medicine during the hangover, which is what we're seeing with what's happening with DC,
Hmm.
and so there's going to be a lot of these things because the market is collapsing now. And so more and more extreme behavior is going to be done to try to right the ship. All the people that thought Bob Iger was going to fix Disney, where's the stock?
Yeah, right.
I mean, the moment I heard Bob Iger's back, and all of a sudden I said, "There's going to be a dead cat bounce where morons are going to think this Iger is going to somehow do something different than
Hmm.
Chapek was doing and fix it, right?" And then they realized, okay, well, Chapek's just going to do whatever Chapek did, and then the stock just went back to wherever it was during Chapek's time, right? Because Iger isn't able to fix the problems he himself created, right? And so he can't do it, and so it's just going to be a lot. And so there's going to be, if especially my theory that FTX, if there's financial corruption in that was
Hmm.
Chapek was a fall guy for financial corruption inside come to my Patreon or go to Zero Hedge. They have an article analyzing what I said about maybe I'll throw it into the chat, that Zero Hedge article that you can read where they actually talk about what I said with FTX. I think Disney's going to go through crises upon crises this upcoming year.
Hmm.
I think in the end, Zaslav will be the last man standing because he figured out something was wrong before everyone else did, and he got his company off the track to oblivion before everyone else figured it out. That's why he did the radical things of removing all these people immediately. All the stuff that Chapek tried but could not do, because as we
Mm-hmm.
saw, Chapek was an employee of the board. No one can come up to Zazov and say you're fired, right? And so he acted the way someone who's in that position acts, and so he was able to save. He will save Warner Brothers with time.
Mm-hmm.
Disney is heading for disaster, and in my opinion, it's heading now. For the first time, I'm beginning to see financial articles suggesting could Disney end up in bankruptcy. That was a phrase that had never been heard around Disney before, but I'm beginning to see those articles appear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we've warned about that. That if, especially if my FTX theory is correct, that they have a financial crisis of that scale, then there's stuff we can't imagine coming for Disney. So the world's about to turn upside down. Hollywood, you won't recognize Hollywood. If we do this, God willing, we do this a year from now, people are going to be shocked by what 2023 has. People are going to be shocked on all levels. They'll be shocked politically. They'll be shocked economically. They'll be shocked by Hollywood. None of it is going to go the way most people expect. You won't recognize the world a year from now. You won't. I don't even know, will Joe Biden be president a year from now? And if he's not, I don't know that Kamala Harris will be. So I have no idea I mean, I can make all kinds of theories. We're entering into the singularity of a black hole here, right? We don't know what's on the other side of it. And
Right.
on that note, I got to get rid of
Yes, yes. So thank you so much, Kamran. Nice, nice. Well, Kamran, thank you so much for joining us, folks. Please
everyone stick
do.
around here. I mean, Lorena still has stuff to say, so please.
Yeah, I got some stuff to talk with you guys, and you guys have some questions for me. So, Kamran, thank you so much for joining us. We sure appreciate it, folks. The link to his Patreon is in the description box of the video. Please do check it out. Stay blessed, my brother. I'll talk to you soon.
God bless everyone. Take a happy new year.
Bye. Happy New Year. Always love having Kamran here. So appreciate his time. So it's been like over 36 of you folks in here watching. Thank you so very much. This is an Audience with the Queen podcast. I have people on, and then I kind of, for the last part of the show, about 10 or 15 minutes or so of the show, I talk about some other topics and also get you guys questions. Yes, I love the fact that Kamran spends time with us. So yeah, he's a favorite friend of the channel, full say family member of the channel. So he's definitely amazing. Woof Woof says, I'm definitely sticking around. This woman is captivating those eyes. Oh, well, thank you so much, my dear. I appreciate that. Appreciate that so much. Well, let's see. We got some questions for you guys. And then something I kind of want to go through, which I think is going to be very entertaining, which is related to 2023. So, OC Giggin, hello, says Reina, did you watch Avatar 2 or Puss in Boots 2? I enjoyed Avatar 2 and heard good things about Puss. Thoughts? I have not seen Avatar 2 yet, have not gotten around to seeing it. I'm either going to wait until it shows up on streaming or go when my movie theater has $5 night and check it out. The first Avatar, take the cool effects out of it, and I thought the story was bland. We've seen it all. I call it Dances with Smurfs. I had issues with the plot that took me out of the story. So not really expecting very much story-wise from Avatar. Avatar 2, it looks great. The reason why I think they went with a water theme is that water is very difficult to render accurately with special effects. So probably why they're doing that. So visually, the trailer looks stunning. Not in a rush to see Avatar 2, but when I do, I will let you guys definitely know my thoughts. As for Puss in Boots 2, I did want to see that. One, I love Antonio Banderas. Two, if you've ever seen the Shrek movies, and I'm a fan of the Shrek movies, Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots is one of the most hilarious things that you will ever see. I saw the first Puss in Boots movie. The second one, I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but I do actually want to see it. I heard it's doing very well, especially with families. So hopefully I can see Puss in Boots 2 in the theater. If not, as soon as it comes on streaming, I'm definitely checking it out because I love the Shrek franchise. I love Puss in Boots, and I love Antonio Banderas, of course. So thank you for that question, OC Giggin. Let's see. Jerry Minoza says, any thoughts on the pregnant Joker? Oh, Lord have mercy. Jesus. Um, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, let me see if I can pull this up and I can show you guys. Because first of all, I blame Melanie Mack for this. And I told her that because she exposed me to this nonsense, that she owes me like prime rib or whatever to send me, because I cannot flip and believe that I had to like look at this here. So if you follow me on Twitter, I said, and I quote, and people wonder why manga is destroying American comics in sales. You see that pregnant Joker, right? He says, "Well, what have we here? I think you're pregnant. You're right. Do we have a good OBGYN to use?" This is not the Joker that I remember from the little bit of DC comics that I did read. Who no, no, mm-mm, no, it's ridiculous. It shows yet again how far in the crapper mainstream comics like DC and Marvel have gone. The people who spend money on comics, this is not something that they're going to want to spend their money on. And frankly, they deserve to go broke. This is freaking ridiculous. And yeah, this is why manga is killing it. I swear I thought that was fake. Dude, I thought it's so crazy, right? It's so nuts. You think that it's not. It's not. They can't do that. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. If they could do Snowflake and Safe Space, which they pulled that for the Marvel comics, yeah, they do something like this. Thank you, Second Rodeo, for being here. Says thanks so much for having Kamran. Great show. Well, thank you. Thank you. Hopefully I can have Kamran on again soon as his schedule allows, because I love having him on the show and happy he drops by. Yes, cannot go wrong with a voice like Antonio Banderas. Absolutely, absolutely. And I guess this was from Avatar. Yes, too much CG. Absolutely. I'm just like, yeah, tired of that. Tired of that. It's definitely not the killing joke. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. Cabatano Cavalryman Chase says, who wrote the script for the storyline? Because that person should be fired. You know what? They're probably going to promote him, because this has been the trend I've seen with mainstream comics. They'll come up with these crazy storylines, and for some reason, these people freaking get promoted. I agree, they should be fired. It's just like, you got to be kidding me. What the? Dylan C says, Reina, I half expected the Joker to keep on making jokes or puns. That's the only saving grace here. You know what? If it was like a joke, like it turned out it was a dream or something like that, I could roll with it, but we know this isn't the case. Black Superwoman, hello, my Slytherin sister, says this is no longer a joke I find funny. These idiots are serious. Yes, they are. Men cannot get pregnant, and females who pretend to be men clearly don't want to be men if they're pregnant. You know, there was this Japanese series on Netflix that I thought was a joke, that I think it was like he's pregnant or something like that. And I thought maybe it was some kind of weird joke or some like weird sci-fi explanation. No, no, no. This dude just basically had a one night stand and got pregnant. I couldn't believe two things. One, that that was a storyline, and two, that this came out of Japan. I, mm, no, I just couldn't believe that. Amanda Pizzolato says, I don't want to see a pregnant Joker. Heck, I don't even think an OBGYN wants to see a pregnant Joker. Girl, you do not want to see the panel where he's up in the stirrups. I got subjected to that panel too. You don't want to look. Uh, Trencher 1375 says just in time for Joker the musical. Is that the one with shoot. Is that the one that they're filming with Lady Gaga? I was so not flipping interested in that. That Joker the musical. You can tell some of these folks have no respect for comics. Trencher 1375 for 100 Norwegian krona. Thank you so much for that, my dear. I so do appreciate your support of the channel. I miss Kamran, but I will go back and listen later. It's like mainstream comics are written by people who hate the characters and mediums. You're not wrong. You're not wrong by with that. It seems that the people that are writing these mainstream comics, they have zero respect for the comic lore, zero respect for these characters, and they just treat them as disposable. And then they wonder why we're not reading this stuff, and then they want to call you everything but a child of God because you don't want to you don't want to read that. And we don't. Like case in point, when I went to go visit my sister in North Carolina, so I went to this used bookstore, right? And noticed they had a comic section with like long boxes of like all the old, you know, the older copies of comics going way back. Those were the ones that people were going in and looking through. They weren't looking at the at the new stuff. So I should be telling folks something. No, I'm not going to show you that panel. I won't, Jerry. I won't. I won't. Holy crap. I'm a Slytherin, which means I will share my pain with you, but there's some stuff where it's just like, okay, that's a little too far. When you're a Slytherin, you have to be shrewd enough to know not to freaking show stuff like that. Just yeah, just not gonna work. Oh, let's see. I'm going through here. Yes, Black Superwoman. It is. That's why so many of us who are fans, who are manga fans and anime fans, do not want it westernized at all. Do not want it westernized. Same goes for Indian cinema. They need to push back on this mental illness coming from over here. Oh, you poor thing, you deserve a luxurious spa and all this Pacific cruise for that. Well, thank you. I could deal with a nice cruise for sure. Kirk T says, "What do you think about Hogwarts Legacy? Is it going to be a slam dunk?" I won't subject y'all to looking at that anymore. Yes, I totally agree that it is. If you are a Harry Potter fan, whether you're a normie or whether you're a Harry Potter nerd and you read all the books, as you can see in the back, I have a Slytherin lanyard. I have a Slytherin scarf. I have a Slytherin baseball cap. I go to Universal. I have a Slytherin wand. Well, collector wand, whatever. This game is basically going to put you in at Hogwarts to be able to have the experience as if you were a Hogwarts student and then going on from there. The type of experiences that we've only read about or have seen in the movies, number one. Number two, it's a multi platform game. So whether you're on the PC, the PS4, the PS5, the Switch, the Xbox, all those paths to access this particular game. The trailers look so good. I have pre-ordered it for the PC, so I'm actually going to be playing it on the PC. I believe I get access to it February 7th, and yes, I will be streaming gameplay. I'm also planning on purchasing it for the PS4, and the PS4 access, I think the PS4 and the Switch, and I think Xbox, that drops in April. So yeah, I truly believe that is going to be a slam dunk. The renderings look gorgeous. Again, it's all about that immersion. So everyone from Hogwarts, from Harry Potter normies to Harry Potter hardcore nerds are are going to be into watching this. As a matter of playing this, as a matter of fact, actually Valiant Renegade had tweeted at me. I think last month when we found out the release dates. He's actually getting the PS5 so he can play Hogwarts Legacy. And there are so many people who are just like, you know what? I have multiple copies. I have the regular edition, and then I bought the collector's edition for my other system. And I believe the collector's edition sold out. I think the one for the PS5. So Hogwarts Legacy is definitely that's going to be a huge game. I think people are sleeping on it. The fact that you have people trying to trash J.K. Rowling and tell you not to buy this game is another reason why people sure as hell are going to buy this game. And yeah, the sales are nuts. So keep an eye on it. It's gonna blow up for real. I cannot wait to get my copy. I just can't. I am looking at I'm looking at February 7th, like, yes, I'm gonna get downloaded. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Jared Molina says, new to your channel. I will definitely sub. Thank you so very much, Jared. I do appreciate that, my dear. You mentioned you've been to the Hollywood parties. Did you used to work in the industry? You know, I need to have a stream that's just about Lorena's Hollywood stories. Okay, so here's the deal. Several years ago, I used to live in Los Angeles. I actually lived in what you would call, let's see, in the valley, a little place called Encino. I worked in information technology. So I lived in LA for about 5 years. Where I lived in Encino, I lived near a lot of actors, producers, screenwriters, production assistants, hairdressers, makeup artists, boom operators, camera operators, special effects people. I didn't work directly in the industry, but when you live in LA, especially where I lived at that time, it's all about the industry. I mean, you run into actors you've seen on television, in line at the supermarket, um, all over the place, in the movie theater, at California Pizza Kitchen. It's just one of those things. So I worked in IT for, let's just say, a company that was involved in the industry. So because I had contacts, I would get to go to these parties in addition to working around these people. And if you've ever seen the HBO series Entourage, yeah, a lot of that stuff's real. So one day I will have to have a live stream and tell you guys all of my real Hollywood stories because they are crazy, they are nuts. And to tie it back to fandom, I lived in Hollywood during the time when Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager were filming. Yeah, your girl used to go on the Paramount lot. I'll have to tell you guys some stories about some really crazy stuff that happened. So I'll have to save that for a future stream. Might do that part of that for members actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. Let's see. Yes. Cue the Harry Potter music. I don't like we start fifth year. Yeah, but you know, they have to kind of cut it off somewhere because I believe they have you start when you're at Hogwarts and then you have to go through, you know, the rituals and graduate and then move on to the mystery that they have set up. So I would say for right now, you never know what DLCs they might drop about it. You never know. They got to get the game out there, but you know, I'll wait for it. I will totally wait for it. Let's see here. If you want to read some interesting American manga, check out Ben Dunn's Ninja High School. It parodies 80s pop culture and mixes it with popular Japanese properties. Ninja High School. Oh, okay. Thank you for the recommendation, Cavatina. I appreciate it because I'm trying to read more manga. I'm a little lazy because I like to watch the anime. So I'm trying to read manga first, but that's cool about American manga. Thank you. Thank you. Kirk T says, thank you for answering my question. Have a lovely night. Well, you are very, very welcome. This is what the Audience with the Queen podcast is, about. You drop questions, I answer them, you know, just to get together with you guys. I appreciate you. Mike has bad knees says, I'm not even a Harry Potter fan, but the game looks cool. Yes, it does. I don't know if you guys have seen the gameplay where I think it's called a vivarium or something like that. And you basically take your magical creature there to like have them exercise and do, whatever. So, say for example, if your magical creature is a hippogriff, you take it there and it's like walking your dog, like walking your magical creature, and it does stuff. That gameplay was absolutely freaking crazy. I cannot wait. Yeah, my LA days were nuts. LA changed me. I went there one way and left completely, and totally changed. Just happened. Cavatania says thoughts on the new IDW comic featuring Benjamin Sisko. Uh, I'm trying to remember who posted that on Twitter for me to look at. I did not read it all the way through. I guess Beverly Crusher was trying to do a psych workup on Benjamin Sisko, so I will have to check it out. I didn't have time to read through it completely. Hmm. I'll have to look at it and see what's going on with that. Because of course Benjamin Sisko is the best Star Trek captain. Yeah, yeah. Fight me. John Moore Jr. says Last of Us watch parties on Scener. Funny you should mention that. I am actually planning to have one for that, so I will definitely let you guys know. I'm gonna fall on that Last of Us grenade, for lack of a better term. So yes, if you are not following me on Scener, why are you not following me on Scener? Follow me on Scener. That's where I have a lot of watch parties for things. We did one for House of the Dragon, which was awesome. So we'll go through Last of Us as well. Okay. Peyton McAfee says favorite childhood toy that wasn't electronic. I have to say that because I loved like electronic stuff in computers. So I loved Mr. Spell, um, Light Bright. Trying to think of the absolute favorite one that I had. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to know what my favorite childhood toy was? That Barbie Corvette. Yep, Barbie Corvette. Or maybe it was the Barbie doll. They're kind of interchangeable, the Barbie doll and the Corvette. So yeah, yeah. I collected a lot of Barbie dolls. Ton of Barbie dolls. Let's see. I give you. He's tied with Kirk, so now we don't have to fight. See, Kirk is OG, so yeah. I'll give him credit for that for sure. Bosco Scenario says, "Hello, Bonita. Well, hola. How are you doing, Bosco? I missed your stream earlier this evening. I think you guys started at 8. So good to see you, my dear. Always good to see you, folks. You got to check out Bosco's channel. Great stuff. Another up and coming channel. So please do check it out. Dwayne Olson says Captain Benjamin the Assassin was far more intimidating than Jean-Luc Genocide. Um, yeah. I'm gonna wind up watching season 3 of Picard. That show pissed me off so bad. But from what I'm hearing, granted, Robert Meyer Burnett's been talking about it, that supposedly season 3 is better. Um, we'll wait and see. That's another grenade I'm gonna fall on. But I was not happy with the first 2 seasons of Picard. It's just like, no, nah, nah. Mike Has Bad Needs says, are you uploading podcasts to Spotify or anywhere else? I have not. I have not. So that may be something that eventually I'll wind up doing. As you folks may know or may not know, YouTube is kind of like the hobby because I have a full-time job that takes up a lot of time. So I'll probably put that as one of the things to do, uploading it to Spotify. I've heard a couple of other YouTubers have been doing that. So thank you. I'll have to check for that. Yes, wait for it returns. Yeah, yeah, wait for it. Wait for it. I had the Barbie RV and the Corvette. Oh, you had the RV. Mm. I had the Corvette. I had the dream house. I don't think I got the pool. I think it was the dream house and the Corvette. And I didn't have I think I had one Ken doll, but Ken was kind of like the butler. My Barbie was dating G.I. Joe. Just had to work that way. And thank you for subscribing, Jer Molina. I sure do appreciate that. Hopefully, I said your name right. Thank you so much for subscribing. You guys have helped me hit 4K subs. I am doing a hard press this year to see how much further I can get with the subs with putting out more content for you guys. If it wasn't for Jay Longbone, I wouldn't have gotten through Interview with a Vampire. I hope she does some other shows so I don't have to watch them. As a Creole, I could only hang with Interview with the Vampire for like 2 episodes. I was out. I was out. I said no. Mm-mm. Nope. But I love Jay Longbone. If it wasn't for her, I couldn't have gotten me through. Couldn't have watched season 1 of Batwoman, season 2 of Batwoman. You guys saw 40 minutes of pain reviewing episode 1 of season 2, and I said I'm never going back. I say that now, but that's one of my highest rated videos since apparently y'all love my pain. Kirk T says, how would you feel if rumors about the Harry Potter reboot turn out to be true? Actually, I would be okay with it depending on what they do. Now, one of the things that I've noticed from reading more of the Harry Potter books is that with the movies, they've kind of made Ron into more of a joke than he should be. So if they do the reboot and they rectify that situation, it could probably turn out to be okay. So we'll see what happens if J.K. Rowling has her hands in it, which I hope she will, and will not let it turn into another Fantastic Beasts. It could be pretty good. Zaslav is about making that money, and the smart money is on making sure that if you do a Harry Potter reboot, that reboot has to be tight. So I'm actually excited by that. Let's see. Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, my dear. I sure do appreciate it. Let's see. Your pronunciation was spot on. Glad to sub. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you. I'm glad I got that right. Do you like Life cereal? Yes, cinnamon Life cereal. Got to be cinnamon Life cereal. If it's not cinnamon Life cereal, I'm not down. I'm not down with it. Okay, so what I'm going to wrap the show up with, I have to thank Sil Abdul for putting this graphic up. Because what you got here is the movies that are slated to come out, we'll say geek wise, for 2023. So thanks to Sil for putting this up. So what I am actually going to do is I'm going to go through here and tell you which ones I'm interested in, which ones I'm definitely interested in, and which ones that I'm like I don't freaking care at all. So I'll go through these real quick. We'll start here at the top left, which is Megan, which is I want to say it's like Chucky, like the rebooted Chucky, but apparently this woman who's a robotics engineer, she comes up with this AI doll, Megan, to serve as a guardian to her orphan niece. But things don't go very well, supposedly. Now, I love cheesy stuff like that. So it looks like a really cheesy, scary horror movie. So I'm probably going to check that out on a $5 night. However, Joe Malozzi, who is on Twitter, and he's actually one of the former producers for Stargate SG1, said that Megan, for the most part, it had a great premise, which I do like the premise, but it seems like a very paint by numbers movie. But either way, I still want to check it out. It's just got this weird horror vibe. And plus it's a Bloomhouse movie. So gotta check that out. Quantum Mania. I could freaking care less about that movie. Um, Marvel Phase 4 sucked. This kicks off Marvel Phase 5. I have zero interest in this film for well, two reasons. One, that Phase 4 turned out so crappy, and two, that in this movie, dude's a deadbeat dad. I just don't appreciate that. So Quantumania, nah, skipping that. Cocaine Bear, hell yeah, I'm going to go see that movie. It's about true story about the cocaine, the bear that sniffed, I forget how much cocaine he did and went on a rampage. I'm checking that out for sure. Creed 3, I do want to see, but I need to see the other previous two first. The preview, I would say the trailer for Creed 3 actually looked really good. So I think I should go back and watch the other two before I watch the third one. So that looks good. Scream. I don't know how I feel about that one. I didn't see the one they put out last year. Frankly, I'm really over the Scream franchise. I mean, I liked Scream, but it seemed like the movies just got dumber as uh as they went along. So let's put it this way: I rather would go see Megan, which I'm really interested in, as opposed to Scream. Scream has, I think that franchise is going three movies over what it should have been. Shazam, I like the first one. Okay, this may be one that I'll just wait to see when it comes on streaming. It was a good family message. I liked it. It's just like, do I really want to make time to go see it in the theater? It's not a must see for me. It's kind of like an eventually see for me. AI is only as good as the developer who created it. Yeah, this is true. This is true. So everything that could possibly go wrong is what cracks me up about that. Cameron said Scream 5 was amazing and an homage to the original. Really, OC Giggin? Okay. Okay. I think that's streaming now, so I'll probably go and check that out. John Wick Chapter 4. Hell yeah. I'm going to go see that. As a matter of fact, speaking of John Wick, I'm actually going to be doing a watch party series with her and Retro Nerd Girl. It's going to be recorded. I've never seen the John Wick movies, so we're starting with John Wick 1 And then we'll eventually go to John Wick 2 and John Wick 3 in time to watch chapter 4 of John Wick in the theaters. I'm so excited about this one. Hey, Darth Plato. I see you there. Good seeing you and Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year to you. Dungeons and Dragons. No, I ain't interested in that. Next, Evil Dead Rise. I'm intrigued because I like the Evil Dead series, so of movies. Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 are cult freaking classics. So heck yeah, I gotta watch Evil Dead. Cannot wait. More Maga says, oh my god, Entourage is my favorite. Entourage, I'm telling you, people used to think that that was fake. I'm like, no, I've been in situations like that. Which one, John Wick? I can't. I'm so excited about this watch party series for John Wick. It's going to be so much fun. So much fun. Dylan C says I had a fun time with Scream 5, even with its flaws. Cameron loved it. Tom of Midnight's Edge hated it. Unsure what Mike Harlow thought about it. Okay, well, you know what, Dylan C, I may have to do a watch party for Scream 5. I may have to do that. I should be streaming. Should be streaming by now. Let's see. Super Mario Brothers movie. Hell to the yes. I will probably see that movie 3 times, and I will probably see it in IMAX all 3 times. As a Nintendo gamer, yes. The the animation looks on point. Illumination Studios, the same people who did Despicable Me and the Minions, they're doing it. They know their audience. This movie's going to make a crap ton of money. Crap ton of money, and I cannot flip and wait to see that. Yep, cue Marlboro Brothers music. Absolutely. Run, Don't Walk to the Wick series. Yeah, I'm mad I didn't get on that in the beginning, but life happens. So, but yeah, John Wick, I'm telling you. I need to mark that up actually with what I'm gonna see and what I'm not gonna see. Dylan C says the trailer for Evil Dead Rises was good. It's violent, gross, and disgusting. I rated 10 barfs out of 10. I can't wait. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. I tell you, Evil Dead, that movie, you know what that movie taught me? That if you find some book with an incantation, do not recite the incantation, especially when it's in Latin. You don't want to do that. Hey, Teresa, good to see you, my dear. Hope you're well and happy new year. Let's see, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I'm going to see that. I'm going to see that. That trailer almost made me cry with Rocket. Made me laugh, made me cry. I'm going to go see that. Not as many times as a Super Mario Brother movie, but I'm going to go see that. Fast X. Yeah, I'm going to go see that. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Dude who was in Reacher, Alan Richson. Okay, yeah, Alan Richson is going to be in that. There's a whole bunch of beefcake in this movie. I don't care about the plot. It's got cars and hot dudes. I'll probably see it on $5 night though. The Little Mermaid. Crap, y'all gonna make me go and watch this. Uh I don't care that it's race swapped, but I do care that they were too lazy to give her flaming red hair, and I took that freaking personal. So it's a live action remake. Disney has not had a very good track record with live action remakes, so I think this is going to be a complete and total dumpster fire. But I will go check it out just to witness the dumpster fire and let you guys know. Spider Man Across the Spider Verse. Yes, I am going to see that. I liked Into the Spider Verse. I thought that movie was actually pretty fun. Enjoyed it much more than I thought I was going to. So I'm gonna see that. Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Hell yeah, I'm gonna see that one too. Definitely. It's not Michael Bay, so it's not Bayformers. Love the trailer. Love Beast Former, so that's actually going to be pretty cool. Can't wait to see that. The Flash, no, not seeing that. Not seeing it. One, I can't stand Ezra Miller. Two, I don't really care about the Flash. The only people in DC that I really care about is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. I don't give a crap about the Flash, especially Ezra Miller Flash. Elemental by Pixar. Pixar's movies have sucked of late, so nope, not watching Elemental at all. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I'm not going to see that. I will not fall on that grenade. That series should have ended, but the third movie, Crystal Skull, was horrible. No way I'm messing with that. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Yeah, definitely going to see that, of course. Tom Cruise does all his own stunts. I do need to watch. I think I'm missing two Mission Impossible movies that I haven't seen, so I will have to catch up. But that is definitely one that I will see in IMAX because I just have to. I just have to. Ezra Miller makes us Flash look bad. Yeah, he does. It's like with Aquaman. It's the stink on it. I just no. I don't care. And I didn't like Ezra Miller as an actor anyway. So his shenanigans off screen just does not make me want to watch the movie. Mike has bad knees says I have concerns about Transformers, but I'm hopeful that I am wrong. I have some concerns too, but I'm willing to give it a chance. Willing to give it a chance because RC is in it. If you know who RC is, she's the female Autobot. RC is in it, and the little girl who is in it looks like I did when I was little. So for purely superficial self insert reasons, I have to see this freaking Transformers movie. Let's see. Barbie. I'm going to see that movie. Come on now. The trailer was absolutely hilarious. Barbie movie, you have Margot Robbie as Barbie. I will forget that Simu Liu is in it. Also, the actor who plays the new doctor from Doctor Who, he's supposedly in it. That movie looks funny, so I have to see the Barbie movie on a general principle. Oppenheimer, uh, I'm just not interested in it. It doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look interesting to me. The Marvels. I like the actress who plays Kamala Khan, but I don't think it's enough for me to go to the theater. I'm probably gonna wait for the sucker to go into streaming because I can't freaking stand Brie Larson. It's just not gonna do that. I see Hotter Destiny. Ezra Miller's more like the Flush. Yeah, I'm not interested. Not interested. Let's put it this way. I am more interested in seeing Shazam, not in a bad way. I like Shazam. So I want to see it eventually, not in a rush. Flash, I could care less. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Is that the one that Seth Rogen is directing or something like that? Either way, I've never liked the new Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. They just nah, never like them. I like the ones from the 90s. Those are the only ones that I recognize. Blue Beetle is coming out August 18th. I am actually interested in this film. Blue Beetle is being played by Zoto Maradorena, who also better known as Miguel from Cobra Kai. So I've seen the promo art for this. I have no idea who Blue Beetle is in the comics, but I'm interested in checking that out. Craven the Hunter, I have no idea what this movie is. So if you folks know what it is, enlighten me because I there's nothing that makes me really want to go see it. It's just not interesting to me. Dune Part 2, um I will probably check it out. I did like the Dune movie. I was pleasantly surprised by it. So definitely checking out part two. Probably will not see it in IMAX. I'll probably see it in regular standard def, but it's definitely something that I want to check out. David Lynch's Dune will always be my Dune. Fight me. But Denis Villeneuve's version of Dune, I enjoyed it. I absolutely enjoyed it. So looking forward to part two. Wonka, no, it's not Gene Wilder. I'm not freaking interested in that. So forget that. The Ghostbusters sequel to Afterlife, I am interested in seeing. I did like Afterlife, so I definitely want to see this. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, I was interested in that, and then the whole Amber Heard crap popped off. Now I don't even freaking want to see that. I will not see this movie. I love Jason Momoa, but no, baby, I can't support that. I can't. I can't. Spider-Man villain. Craven is a Spider-Man villain. Okay. Okay. I didn't read. I have some Spider-Man comics, but I didn't really read in depth. And I did watch the cartoons, but I'm like Craven. Maybe I forgot who he was. The main villains from Spider-Man that I remember that I like the most are Doc Ock, um, Green Goblin, and Venom. I'm like, is Craven like further down on the super villain uh rung? I'm just curious. Let's see. Trencher 1375 says you don't want to see Kamala Khan, America Chavez, and Monica Rambeau emotionally validate Captain Marvel for 2 hours. Dude, I'd rather watch Rings of Power. I would rather watch Rings of Power. America Chavez was just a MacGuffin in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. To me, she just ruined that film. There was no reason why she needed to be there. So, Monica Rambeau, eh, poor Kamala Khan. I STD'd all over that Aquaman movie. The Rhino. I do remember the Rhino. I'm glad you brought that up. I remember Rhino. Shoot. I remember, dude. Craven is a big game hunter. Spidey is his prey. Okay. Okay. Craven was a B-list villain, but then he had one awesome story called Craven's Last Hunt that put him in the A tier for a while. Okay. Because I'd never heard of this dude. Never heard of him. Here's a few episodes in the 90s Spider-Man animated series. Oh, okay. Every time I hear America Chavez, I cringe at the My Two Moms line from Doctor Strange too. Yeah, don't get me started on all the reasons why I'm so mad about Doctor Strange too, because I loved the first Doctor Strange movie. It was not even needed. You could have just shown the scene with her two moms and people would have figured it out and life would have went on. I mean, why call that crap out? Doesn't make any sense. More Maga says, I hope Hollywood fall off the wagon. Something's got to give. Well, kind of like how Cameron was saying, things are a changing. Money is running out all over the place. If you haven't been paying attention yet, start paying attention to a lot of these media groups laying people off, budgets getting cut. You already see what's going on with DC, and all of that. But you're right, something has to give because people aren't going to put their money out for films and television series that aren't worth their time. They're just not going to they're not going to do that. So with the changes that are coming on with this year, especially with the economy and recession and all, yeah, because that's exactly what it is. Hollywood will have no choice but to go back to doing what they used to do, which is giving us entertainment first And if you're going to throw your politics in there, at least not insult us if we don't share your politics. You know, yes, Monica Rambeau is Captain Marvel. Absolutely. I much rather would have seen her as Captain Marvel. Dwayne Olson, and I'll end with this here. Craven had a few episodes in 80s Spider Man and His Amazing Friends. He's 60s vintage. For some reason, with Craven, either I didn't pay attention to his storyline or he didn't interest me. Like I said, those were the three that I was interested in that I mentioned earlier. And of course, Rhino. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Dylan C says I went to Multiverse of Madison 40X, tried to watch it with Normie Brain, and then I noticed glaring issues. I am so glad Mauler pokes fun at the lady at the church wedding. I saw it in 3D and it just, nah, I didn't like it. Now, in comparison, I saw an Indian movie, Brahmastra, in 3D. And that was insane the way that they used the 3D. They used the 3D to actually immerse you in the action and enhance the story, as opposed to using it as a gimmick, which is what Multiverse of Madness did. The revolution is failing. Make movies again. You know what I think, and I'll close on this. What I think is giving Hollywood the most competition right now and showing the ways that they really suck is a lot of the foreign competition that's out there. If you haven't seen RRR, you need to see this freaking movie. You need to see it. Indian movie. It's about the revolution in the 20s. It's such a relatable story. 3 hours of nothing but great storytelling and action. And you cannot believe 3 hours has gone by watching this movie. The Oscars won't even really recognize this film, and it deserves to be recognized. When it comes to television, how many of you guys saw Squid Game on Netflix? Smash records. South Korean, South Korean television show. That actually got me, oh well, miniseries. That got me actually into watching K drama. So the more anime I watch, K dramas that I watch, Indian movies that I watch, and American like independent studios. Like take a look at Skydance. Skydance, that's Tom Cruise's, of course, venture. They're doing, the Mission Impossible movies. They did Reacher. They also did the Terminal List. Pay attention to Skydance. They actually did an animated feature, which was Luck. I think John Lasseter came in kind of halfway. Look at what's coming out from Skydance. They're putting stuff on Apple Plus, as well as I think as Netflix. They also did the Adam Project, which is such a pro fatherhood and pro importance of fathers movie that will give you Last Starfighter flashbacks if you go and watch it. So you have these other studios that are making names for themselves quietly by putting things out there that people want to watch. Top Gun Maverick, Skydance. Yeah, Squid Game, man. I love that series. They're making a season 2. I don't know if I that's a tall order. I can't see them topping season 1. So folks, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hung out a bit longer than I'd planned to, but you know what? You guys had some great questions. We had some great discussions, and I kind of just wanted to throw out there what I was going to be watching or interested in for 2022. So please do hit that like button if you're watching this on the replay. Thank you so very much for watching the replay. I'm so excited about this new podcast show. Cannot wait for all the great stuff that we have planned for this. So everyone, thank you so very much for being here. I sure do appreciate that. You all have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you next time. Bye.